Years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee, featuring Tennessee Radio Hall of Famer George Plaster, Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame coach Watson Brown, and Young Guns Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. I guess it's good to be back home. We haven't been out here at the Fordyce Center in Bellevue for over a week, and so it does feel a little bit strange, but it's good to be back here after a week that was absolutely insane downtown at the Grand Hyatt, where SEC Football Media Days took place. And then, as most of you know, on Friday, we were out at First Horizon Park, where the Sounds had a big weekend, drew over 11,000 on Saturday. They have really hit it big at the box office, and congratulations to Adam English and his staff. So let's do a little roll call. Let's go to Murfreesboro. Kelly Holcomb standing by. Kelly, what's going on?
What's up, George? How you doing?
Doing good. Hope you are.
I'm doing well. Looked like you had a meeting at the yacht club. Do you have a martini as well?
No, I did not. Is there a problem over there? Let's just get this out in the open. You don't like this shirt, do you?
I mean, I guess it's you. That's definitely George Plasterish. There's no question.
Okay. Billy, do you have a problem with the shirt?
I don't have a problem. I thought Kelly's joke was funny.
It was funny. it was really well done. Kelly, did you have a good weekend?
I had a good weekend. Yeah, I did. Family was over and everything was good. We had, it was nothing to write home about. I mean, it was just a nice weekend.
Who'd you piss off?
I don't think I pissed anybody off this weekend, but I don't know. You never know about me. I'm sure I pissed my wife off at some point, but who knows? She's been around me long enough.
Billy, how about your weekend?
It was good. Went to the Sounds game last night.
Yeah.
Got some work done.
Okay.
It was fun. It's good. You're right about the crowds there. I mean,
they've been killing it.
Like Sunday night, you would think maybe not the best crowd, 6 o'clock first pitch, but
a really good crowd.
Yeah. The weekends, they've done
They're
well.
Killing it on the weekends.
Yeah. And it makes you think. I was sitting there thinking, this city would easily support a Major League Baseball team. I know we've talked about it, but it kind of got me thinking. I think they do pretty well in an MLB team here.
I have thought that for a long time, not just recently. Our city can support Major League Baseball.
There's no doubt. Kelly, I got to ask, how was, did you get in with Chris? Did you find him? Did you You didn't get lost.
I did. I was going. Oh, I was going to tell y'all, man. Going to the Grand Hyatt down there with all the concrete barriers and the fences up.
You saw what we
Hey,
dealt
I've
with.
got to commend y'all for where y'all went, because I text Chris and I'm like, I don't even know how to get up there, man. Like, I'm at the post office right now. I'm right across from Union Station, and he didn't know where I was. And then the guy that's on the NFL Network with him, Peter Burns, actually went to dinner with us as well. And I'm like, I don't even know where to go, Chris. And then I just started riding. Me and my wife started riding, and I did a U-turn right there, and I actually picked those guys up. But y'all are absolutely right. There's so much stuff going on down in Nashville. I was scared to go down some of the roads because I'm like, is this one lane road? Can we both sides of traffic go? So I thought I was going to hit somebody head on, because it's just crazy downtown right now.
It is it is crazy. Now, that said, when Scott Ramsey comes on at 2:20 to talk about what all went on last week, I'll tell you this, the shuttle service that they had for this thing, thank God.
Well, they
were terrific.
They worked the deal out with the construction people, because I mean, it was a construction zone.
Yeah,
Kelly, that was a one way from where the shuttle was going in and out. That was just a one way for the shuttle. So, and that was huge.
Yeah.
Right. And that's not easy to, construction's going on. It's not like they stopped for a week. They're still working, and that was a one way. So Kelly's right. You never knew if a car might have snuck through while the shuttle was going through,
I'll tell you what was crazy, Kelly. On the floor that Radio Row was on, which is where we were, we're right by a huge window, and we can see to the north up toward Bowling Green, and twice these humongous storms come flying in, and you can see them developing. You can see in other parts of the city where you knew there was something there, but the rain was falling so hard you couldn't see anything. It was
there's been some rough storms come through here the last couple of days. It's always coming from the north, and I remember being a kid, hearing when a storm comes from the north, it's pretty rough. And I saw on the news the other night, like Nashville had 80-mile-per-hour winds at one point somewhere up there. It's crazy.
Yeah, and it was unfortunate because they had a big week planned on Broadway. They had a block party planned for Tuesday night that got wiped out. I think they had some stuff Wednesday going on too, and they couldn't really experience the whole. I mean, I'm sure people still went on Broadway, but the SEC had stuff planned that they had to cancel.
Yeah, they had a concert. Was it Tuesday night?
Tuesday night was the concert. They were supposed to have some coaches on the set with an SEC Nation broadcast. They couldn't. As people were excited about that, they weren't able to do that. So, but Nashville, no matter rain or shine, people always enjoy it. So that was the good part about it.
They should have come to our sports speaker series. They could have met Kelly. Oh man! Do you have an update?
Always hating George.
Oh no! Whatever it is that I may do, you have doubled over the years. Let's not act like Mr. Innocent.
Well, we got a winner in the Open Championship.
Yeah, he won by, what was it, 6 strokes?
I think so. He dominated the last couple of days. He got to -10, and he was. He really had to screw up to lose. I think Sepp Straka was kind of hanging out behind him. Rory McIlroy struggled though. He Spieth, we talked about him not making the cut. And Kelly, it's interesting.
Jordan Spieth.
It's interesting. Harman is a guy, Kelly, that he's not the biggest guy. He made every putt. I mean, he didn't miss a putt. It looked like.
Yeah.
So
you look at those tournaments, Billy. Though, if you're number one in the field in putting, you're up there on the leaderboard, if not first on the leaderboard. So he didn't miss. They had a stat like the first 3 days he didn't miss anything within 10 feet of the hole, which is crazy. I wish I had those stats.
Putt for show, or what is it? Drive for show, putt for dough.
Correct.
Kelly, do you think those are ugly golf courses?
Yeah, I'm not huge fans of those. I had a chance to go to St. Andrews with somebody, and I probably should have went a long time ago. But it's like somebody said it's like a dog track. But you know what? It's the British Open, and it's really cool. I mean, they it's cool to go over there where they started golf and to win that championship. And the weather is real. Like if there's no weather over there, the golf courses aren't extremely hard. Some of them aren't, but I'm sure with the rough they can make it. But some of those bushes that they got, but if the weather's not cooperating,
and
just like it was, but just like the other day, Sunday, I couldn't imagine playing in rain the whole day. That must have been awful to play in.
On the first tee, our defending champion, Jordan Spieth.
4, please.
I'll never forget when they introed him. Jordan Spieth.
That's the best part about that tournament. But did y'all watch his post game at all?
Jordan Spieth?
No, Harman. Brian Harman.
Oh, Harman, no. Yeah, I did. I watched a little bit of it.
He was being hammered by a lot of the British reporters about how he's a hunter. He's a big hunter. He went to Georgia. He's from Georgia.
Yeah.
And that's all the post game presser was really about, at least the part that I watched. It's like, how far can you shoot? Because he's a bow hunter. He's found
a bow hunter, yes.
They found out he was a bow hunter. They kept asking. You ought to watch it, George. It's pretty funny.
I'm going to Georgia in a couple of weeks, and I will not be bow hunting.
No, I'm sure you'll be watching the Atlanta Braves.
You got that right.
The Atlanta Braves.
Against the hideous Yankees. I can't wait.
I would assume you'll be giving Terry McCormick a phone call at some point.
Oh, he will hear from me.
All right, moving on from the Open. There's some NFL injuries that popped up over the weekend.
A little early.
Yep.
What?
A little early.
Early
for the injuries.
Yeah, I don't know how these happen. You gotta look at Nyheim Hines of the Bills. He suffered what is expected to be a season-ending injury to his left ACL while jet skiing. I think, right?
Skiing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was it jet ski?
Yes.
Yeah. Jet ski.
I bet that went over well.
Yeah, he was
seriously.
He wasn't moving. He was sitting on a stationary jet ski when he was struck by, I guess, a bigger boat or something. I don't know what exactly happened, but that's a brutal start to the training camp for the Bills.
That's not good.
But they've got some good running backs behind him, Damian Harris and Latavius Murray. So they'll be fine. But Nyheim Hines is one of the better backs in the NFL in terms of catching out of the backfield.
I will tell all of you this: at 3:00, we're going to get knee deep into the Saquon Barkley stuff. Apparently, a bunch of the running backs had meetings, Zoom or whatever they did, phone call over the weekend. And Nick Chubb from the Browns was quoted as saying, "We don't really have any answers." Well, I do. You'll hear about it.
We'll get to battle over that one. I'm ready for that.
Are you?
I'm ready.
Done a little show prep?
I'm ready.
Okay. Do you know who the head of the NFL Players Association is?
Well, we talked about that the other day. It used to be DeMar Smith, but I don't even know if that's who it is anymore.
He was useless. And now they have hired, as of about a month ago, Lloyd Howell. Does that name ring a bell at all?
It does not.
Yeah, it didn't me either. But I looked him up. I did show prep.
He's probably a lawyer type, I'm sure.
You would think they'd have somebody recognizable as right?
To me, a lot of it goes to this. The NFL, the life expectancy of a player is so much less than baseball. So they are not willing to make the kind of sacrifices that baseball is. And I believe, and Kelly may disagree, and we'll really get into this at 3:00, they have paid dearly for having the backbone of a chocolate eclair.
Oh, where do you come up with that?
Well,
he thought of that while he was drinking a martini at the yacht club.
Yes, with Thurston B. Howell.
All right, another big NFL injury was to a Detroit Lions defensive back, C.J. Gardner-Johnson. An MRI on his right knee showed no structural damage, and he's considered day-to-day. He was carted off the practice field with the injury on Monday. But I bring these up because it's weird hearing about injuries so early in the NFL.
Well, the other thing I've learned is when you get to be my age, you're day-to-day. You just don't know.
Kelly, he's trying to get out of training camp, Billy. Right. He knew wasn't nothing wrong with him, but he laid on the ground a little bit, and I was like, "We got to get him an MRI."
That's
he was like,
something.
yes.
That's the benefit of Kelly. I never even thought about guys really like hating training camp. I mean,
my God.
I just, it never occurred to me that players would desperately want to miss a training camp. Now, younger guys, maybe not, just so they might want to prove himself. But I mean, you get a 5th or 6th or 7th year guy that's been through it.
Out of here.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me give you just a quick story. I know we got to go, but a quick story. I was in Indianapolis and Peyton had not signed his contract. So I was behind. I was the backup at that point. So I was starting. That's when Jim Moore came. So I ended up banging my knee on Marshall Falk's knee. My knee swelled up. I didn't miss any time. Marshall Falk was out for like 2 weeks.
But he lived.
Go ahead. He lived. Yes, he lived. But he was trying to miss training camp.
And he probably told you that, didn't he?
Oh, I mean, everybody knew. I mean, it was like he's not gonna come back. Like he's not gonna come back for a couple weeks.
He'll be ready on opening night.
He will.
What else we got, Billy?
Interleague matchup tonight. Braves are in Boston.
Oh,
tomorrow. I meant to say tomorrow, actually.
Red Sox.
A
reunion with former Brave Adam Duvall.
Yeah, Duvall is a guy that has fit perfectly in Boston, by the way, too. I mean,
Adam Duvall would fit in pretty well back in Atlanta.
Sure would.
If anybody wants to know.
And George, I want to get to this a little bit late, maybe on a show later this week or next week.
Mm-hmm.
The documentary Quarterback on Netflix. Have you heard of that?
No. What's Netflix?
Oh gosh, I bet. Do you even have Netflix, George?
No, I do not.
Well, we need to find a way to show it to him. I'm sure Kelly has seen a couple of the episodes. I watched a couple last night. It's good. It's rare to see these guys, off the field, like a Kirk Cousins who has been in the league for a while. How he trains each week. It's a good look, and I'd love to get. I don't know if Kelly would like to watch it, but I think Kelly could give some added perspective on. As an older quarterback, there's a lot you got to do. Talking about these NFL injuries, especially if you're an older guy, to be able to get back on the practice field and the playing field eventually on Sundays.
First, you got to wake up.
I'm going to tell you now. I haven't seen it. Somebody texted me about. I think Peyton is the one that produced it. Was he not?
Really?
Omaha.
Yeah, Omaha Productions. He produced all that. But I'm going to tell you, after some games, after you get hit a bunch, you do not want to get out of the bed. I mean, it's tough. I mean, that's why you have to take care. My agent told me a long time ago, your biggest asset is your body, and you've got to keep it trained. You've got to keep it well. You've got to keep it going. And there's sometimes where you have a physical game and you've been hit quite a bit, and man, you got bruises all over your body. I know that I saw Kirk Cousins talking about how his ribs were sore.
Yeah.
He had to go to the training room. Of course, nobody wants to go to the training room, but when I was in Cleveland, all they wanted us to do was play football, but they had chiropractors there. They had massage therapists there. They had everything for us. They had people to come in and cut our hair. They had people to start our cars when it was wintertime, when we were on away trips. I mean, they had people that shined our shoes. It was crazy what they did for us. But you have to, I mean, that's not every team, George.
Good.
But it is kind of crazy, though. It's a really good look inside their day-to-day life. I mean, it's pretty cool.
Prima donna.
I agree. That's right.
Kelly said, I agree.
Yeah. What else you got?
That's it for me, George.
Okay. Let me tell you where we're going today. We're going to the show. After we come out of the break, Scott Ramsey, executive director of the Nashville Sports Council and also the City Bowl, will join us. We'll talk to him about all the preparation that went into last week's SEC football media days. Then we will hear around 2:40, give or take a minute or two, from University of Kentucky head football coach Mark Stoops. I'd love to tell you I had it arranged. I didn't. A classmate of mine from my years at Vandy, Tony Neely, walks up and says, "Do you want Coach Stoops on?" And
he was
Billy
yelling. Me and Tony were screaming at you from across the room.
What the hell do they want? It was Mark Stoops. And so we didn't have very long. It's about a 7, maybe 8-minute interview. Then at 3 o'clock, if you're an NFL fan, you need to listen to what we're going to put out there. Pay no attention to Kelly. Listen to me. I will be the voice of reason. Wow. Total silence out of him.
Does anybody believe that?
Probably not.
Anyway, I certainly hope not.
Anyway, we got to go to the break. Scott Ramsey is in the on-deck circle. Stick around. This is the George Plaster Show.
How am I going to get to work? My car's totaled.
Skylar, our team is making a call right now. We'll get you a rental car. Don't worry.
That's a relief.
Call us 24/7. We're here. We're going to help.
Year number 2 of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night was awesome. And the reason is really simple. I chose Strike and Spare, and they were amazing. They have great food, great bowling, and a staff that is truly ready to go the extra mile to help you. They have 5 family fun centers in the area to choose from. And for more info, go to strikeandspare.com or call them at 615-824-5685. As a lot of you know, our show is now more than a year old, and that's a great testimony to some of the viewership that we have had from you all. So a big thank you right there. If you're new to all of this and you're wondering, how do we see the show? Here's some of the ways. Of course, you can watch it live 2 to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. And the 3 biggest ways are Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Now, if you're working or can't watch the show live, you know what? All this stuff is archived in podcast form through 2 different ways. Apple, Spotify, that's the way you do it. You can go Apple Podcast or Spotify, and you're probably sitting there saying, George, you don't know what any of these mean. Well, I'm learning. I can at least spit it out now. Hope that you will continue to enjoy our show, because as football season revs up, we've got some great things planned. Thanks for being with us.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Spend your nights cheering on the Nashville Sounds at First Horizon Park with giveaways, fireworks shows, theme weekends, and more. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvilleSounds.com to claim your seat today.
So who said I can't be a golfer? Well, you know what? This is X Golf, located just down the road from the Fordyce Center in Bellevue. This is fun. It'll improve your golf game, and you need to stop in and check it out. 8138 Sawyer Brown Road, and who knows, I may get to 200 before it's all over. So this just in, SEC Football Media Days is a massive event. I don't even know, and I'm going to ask Scott here in just a minute, the number of credentials that get picked up, issued, I guess is the right word. Anyway, as I mentioned, Scott Ramsey is the executive director of the Nashville Sports Council, same title with the Music City Bowl, and he joins us to talk about an incredible week for our city and for the sport of football. So are you alive?
I am, George. Alive and well. It went well. First time we've had the chance to host media days, and excited to do that. We originally had it scheduled for 2021, and obviously a lot of things changed in 2021 that caused some delays and rescheduling and some things that weren't quite as planned as we thought in 2018. But I thought it went really well, and we got great feedback from really across the board from a lot of the media, and look forward to working with the SEC and bringing it back in the near future.
I thought it went really well. Having been in Atlanta the year before, this felt like an easier setup than the College Football Hall of Fame, which is a beautiful place. But this just felt easier to me, and I gather you've heard that from others.
We did. I thought the hotel did a great job. Big thanks to Mark Sternagol, the general manager at the Grand Hyatt, and their staff. They were attentive to all the changes, and obviously we had some things we had to address with the construction and the bridge outside, which was again unexpected and really nothing we could do about it. When you got a bridge falling down, you got to replace it, and with all the changes we had, the timing didn't line up. But all in all, once you got in the hotel, I just thought they did a tremendous job, and we're proud of to be a partner with them. And all in all, I just thought it felt a lot more energetic than it did a little bit last year. I know College Football Hall of Fame is a special place. Certainly, that's where they have their football championship game, and it's a lot of space there. We were a lot more tight, a little more close, and it felt like maybe that created a little bit more energy. In those 2 floors we used.
So, Scott, let's go through that obvious. You're dealing with downtown stuff that's crazy. When did you know it? What could you do about it?
Well, really, we couldn't do anything about it. We knew. I don't know the exact time, George, but I want to say TDOT announced the bridge replacement project. This is July. I want to say, around the first of the year, probably a definitive time window for a couple, or I guess 6 to 8 weeks when they're going to do it. At that point in time, we communicated with the SEC and said, hey, we need to sit down with TDOT, with the city folks, with Grand Hyatt, and let's see how we can kind of do a workaround. And if you just don't feel like it's something feasible, certainly, we can look at maybe rescheduling it here for Nashville down the road. But that really never really came into play. I think one of the big concerns, I really want to thank TDOT and their leadership, was really if they had to do any demolition, and dynamiting and blasting and those kind of things and knock some stuff down with all the media and the TV and the trucks outside. They agreed to suspend that during the week, and other than just kind of a little bit of inconvenience about, coming and going, I thought it went really well.
Here is the last sentence of a text that I sent Scott yesterday. By the way, the shuttle service was incredible. Who are they and how good are they? Man.
Yeah, they did a great job. I have to get with the staff. I think we did a combination of Gray Line for the most part and Anchor, but great partners locally. Again, we put a lot of planning into it, George, and we knew that was going to be a big key. The first thing you always see at big events is transportation and parking, and we didn't want that to kind of dampen the spirit once you got there. And I think the planning really paid off on the communication side and secondly the execution.
Scott, among the areas where I thought there were huge victories, in the big interview room, there was plenty of room. It was really pretty darn comfortable, and there are a lot of people in there at times.
Yeah, you start thinking about the setup for that, George, and sometimes you get kind of lost in the numbers. You think about over 1,000 media credentialed for that, and having to have that much space and room and technology and the Wi-Fi. And that's one thing I heard about from people. It says, hey, the Wi-Fi didn't break down on us. Even the ones staying there in the hotel, they had to file stories and do their stuff in the hotel room. And, you think, oh, it's not that big a deal. We don't have a ticketed event. We don't have a live event in the stadium or an arena. But at the same time, you've got 1,100 people there trying to work and move people in and out. And they've got to have access to all the technology and electronic needs, from Radio Row to the Wi-Fi in the main press room. So, again, kudos to the hotel. It did a great job, and look forward to kind of getting on that on the books here in the next few years that come back.
Scott, you've dealt a lot with the SEC in recent years between basketball tournament, now this. What do you think? And I'm not trying to aim at it. Do you think Nashville can steal the SEC football title game? But there is going to be a dome stadium 3 to 4 years from now. How do you think that changes your dealings with the SEC?
Well, I think it can only enhance it. I talk a lot about, I think since day one, since I've been here, one of the things we've really worked hard at, George, and you know this, is just building positive relationships across the board nationally with people that impact bringing events to our city, which is our main charge as a sports council. So, you start looking at that, and over the 28 years I've been here, you're seeing people who were quote unquote entry level staffers that came here for events that are now athletic directors in major decision making roles. So, I think with a new stadium, it falls along those lines that we just continue to build relationships, and as opportunities host, they may not pop up to host the football championship in the near future because of their extension with Atlanta, but their leadership could be in positions for the CFP decisions, for Final Four decisions, for many other events that obviously the stadium and the arena and now Geodis Park could be influenced by.
Kelly, I got a question for you. Where do you think Scott was the week before this event?
I'm not sure.
Let's hear it, because I saw him the day.
I got a feeling what he's going to say, but I don't know if I necessarily want to hear this.
Kelly, we went for the first time ever to a trip to Ireland, and I got back Sunday night, and George saw me Monday afternoon, and I just knew that the whole that jet lag thing was a misnomer, but it hit me pretty hard about the time George saw me, and I was glassed over about 4:00 on Monday.
I took a look at him. He looked like a zombie.
I was there physically, put it that way.
You certainly were.
Were you golfing? Were you golfing over there?
Yeah, we had 4 couples that went. We played 4 of the 7 days, and it was a nice balance, and it was really a trip that exceeded our expectations first time we'd been there. So
4 couples. So y'all all married, men and women. Wives going.
And
wives
played. We did. Wives did not play golf. They had plenty of things to fill their days before we did. So it worked out well.
That's good, man. I was talking to one of my neighbors this morning. He was talking about his wife playing golf. So when you said couples, I was like, man, their wives going over there playing. I don't know how that would work. He talked about his wife playing, and my wife played one day with me. She started out, and then she hit it into the water 3 times, and she never picked up another golf club. So I figured that's what you were saying. Here's what intrigues me, Scott, about all this stuff. Like, how many people? You've got so many things going on with the sports council and with all this stuff coming to Nashville. How many people are involved in something, say, like the SEC Media Days, and how long does it take you to get ready for something like that?
They're all different, Kelly. I'd like to say it's all cookie cutter, but the SEC Football Media Days, I would say, was really pretty a minor requirement from our staff side. Again, as George and I talked, I mean, once the hotel did their thing and the SEC kind of runs the show, we were the support team, really. Shuttles, parking, downtown events, a couple receptions, and just really kind of helping them out. On the flip side, next week with the Music City Grand Prix, the third one, again, that ownership group outsources to us the Thursday night event, which is the Pit Stop Challenge and the Fan Fest, which will run from start to finish. We do all the volunteers, which is almost 1,000 volunteers that will coordinate and manage over the 4 days, including Thursday night. And then the bowl game, we run from start to finish. So it's fundraising, it's ticket sales, it's all the negotiations with the schools and the conferences and all the local preparations on site and year long. So, every event a little bit different, but it's what kind of keeps the job exciting. We've got a small staff. We've got a staff of 10 do the sports council, the bowl, but over the course of the year between the marathon, SEC men's basketball, Grand Prix, bowl, we probably employ a couple thousand volunteers, which is really the backbone of our community in hosting these events.
Wow, that's just that just blows my mind away because I can't imagine having to set something like that up. So when I was a kid, I can remember coming to Nashville to watch the Nashville Sounds, and that was really the only game in town. And now,
Mhm.
you guys have had we got an NFL team, we got an NHL team, we've had the NFL draft here, we've had the NHL draft here. George has been on the radio talking about baseball stuff, about the Oakland A's and expansion. I mean, is there anything we feel like Major League Baseball wise that may be in the near future, or do we know that, or is there,
Yeah,
what do you think about that?
I really think those guys have done a great job. Kind of working really the grassroots to be prepared with the league and with the city. I think a couple things to kind of reflect back on as you work through the process. I think we've been through, or I've been fortunate to be here through, two expansion pieces of the puzzle. Certainly, in the NFL was a relocation, but the NHL was an expansion bid in the late '90s, and then certainly the MLS with John Ingram. The MLS process, there were 12 cities, really competing for one or two spots. And until John Ingram really stepped up and was a really well-respected person in that ownership group room, as well as respected locally, Nashville was probably a big underdog, and we emerged as a victor. Same with really the NHL. NBA wasn't expanding at the time. The NHL was. Craig Leopold was kind of in the wings with the NHL, and came to fruition that he was the initial owner here. And those two pieces really kind of gives you kind of how to read the tea leaves for baseball. I think certainly Dave Stewart and those guys are doing a great job kind of leading it, but until really that one major lead owner and a facility plan really emerge pretty concrete, I think we'll kind of see how that plays out, but that could affect the timing is where I'm going with that. Certainly, it's going to be a big financial, commitment. Not only the expansion bid fee, but to build a facility, and then also start, with the whole infrastructure of teams and payrolls and those kind of things. So, fingers crossed. It doesn't feel to me like it's imminent over the next year or so, but never say never based on how things happen in today's world. But I think the lead owner and the facility plan are the key next pieces.
Yeah, so with all the things that were happening with the NFL draft, I mean, Nashville's certainly an entertainment city, obviously with country music, and I think the NFL came here and they loved it. I think everybody loved it. They had so many people downtown. It was such an amazing event. But my last question is this: when we got we got a new stadium coming up. So when the new stadium gets here, seems like every time they build a new stadium, there's going to be a Super Bowl there. I mean, is that probably down the line, hopefully for the city of Nashville and the state of Tennessee to host a Super Bowl?
I think that's a very realistic opportunity for us. I agree with you. I think certainly the Titans and Amy Adams-Strunk and Burke Nihill, their leadership was in constant communication with NFL offices, and we moved through the stadium process, and the Super Bowl being the big public expectation for the new facility. So, I certainly think that's something there, along with the CFP College Football Championship. I think Final Fours. I certainly think we're in line, given how that we've had a great reputation established on major events. I think you throw in CMA Fest, you throw in the NFL Draft, you throw in the NHL All-Star Game, you throw in the SEC basketball tournament, our bowl game's done really well. So really every event that we've done, we've really kind of been building upon bigger and better. And I think with Nashville's destination position as not just a tourism destination, but as a sports destination now, I certainly think we're on the short list there. Now, I say that in that they just don't come easy and they don't come free. It's competitive. I mean, all the other cities want those events as well. I think one of the things that we'll really have to be very strategic about is raising the money to pay for the necessary elements to host those events, and also kind of maybe thinking about the strategy of when you kind of go after them, so you don't really stack them on top of each other and really get some fatigue from when you start talking about police and road closures and security plans and facilities and all those necessary elements. It takes a lot of time and effort on. So, we're already been kind of working on that, and hopefully we'll start seeing that kind of play out here over the next year or so when we get closer to some timelines for the stadium.
Well,
That
kudos
is
to
a
you
really
guys.
good
Yeah.
point that he's brought up there at the end about how you space all that stuff. Scott, I'll leave you this way. First of all, thanks for doing this. You look better than you did a week ago.
Well, thanks, George. I not many people tell me I look better than I did used to, but hey, I'll take it.
You can understand this one, though.
I've got a wife and 3 daughters and a granddaughter, and I haven't heard that phrase in a while, so I feel good about you saying that.
Well, from what I saw last Monday to today, way better, way better. Thanks for doing this.
See you guys. Thanks, man. Enjoyed it. Thanks, George.
He's a busy man. Scott Ramsey is the executive director of the Nashville Sports Council. He brought this up a minute ago. Big Machine Music City Grand Prix. It's less than 2 weeks away. So if you have never been, neither have I. But I'm going, and part of the reason I'm going is the reaction that so many of you have had to this event in the first 2 years. You keep telling me it's incredible. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to find out if what you're saying is true, and I have no doubt it is. This group with the words Music City, Big Machine, Music City Grand Prix, man, they have put some music behind all this. Jason Rittenberry and the staff, incredible. As for the racing, well, I think most of you know already how good it is, how exciting it is. Tickets have been on sale now for a good while. If you're late to the party, the tickets start as low as general admission and work all the way up to the highest level of amenities. MusicCityGP.com is the location. Get ready. It's a weekend. How am I saying this? 12 days from now. Stay tuned.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Family owned and operated for more than 2 decades, Alaco Fine Wood Floors is Nashville and Middle Tennessee's choice for premium quality hardwood floors. Since 1995, Jimmy Alaco and his army of employees have embodied the approach of taking pride in one's craft and providing superior customer service, growing from a one-man shop to a team of 23 professionals who share the founder's passion for quality craftsmanship and customer satisfaction. If you are interested in contacting them, you can find their headquarters at 2505 Winford Avenue in Berry Hill, or give them a call at 615-356-0303. Again, that's 615-356-0303, or log on to alacofinewoodfloors.com. Alaco Fine Wood Floors, serving Middle Tennessee's hardwood flooring needs since 1995.
At Baird, we have a different slant on global financial advice. That global capabilities mean nothing without personal attention. We have investor relationships in 35 countries. and market expertise in over 40 industry verticals. All to help make the most important investment connections of all. Yours. Global financial advice with a client-first approach. It's the shape of things to come. Discover the Bear Difference at beardifference.com.
We're back. This is coming up an interview with University of Kentucky football coach Mark Stoops. I'll tell you up front, it's a little shorter than what we would normally want to do, but both sides had big time issues to have to take care of. Mark had somewhere to be. We had another interview to tape. I wish there was more to this. It's about 7 to 8 minutes. He's done a hell of a job at Kentucky. And in the interview, we'll get into a little bit of Will Levis. So those of you who are Titans fans, stay tuned. Here's University of Kentucky head football coach, Mark Stoops. Coach, there was a day in time where David Cutcliffe told me, "You think I'm crazy for going to Duke." And I admitted that, yes, I do think you're crazy to have done that. I got a feeling there were some people back then who said, "You're crazy for having gone to Kentucky." How satisfying is it that all these years later, you've been able to say, "Not so fast"?
Well, I think that's a fair, comparison, with both of us having challenging jobs. And, I think the world of David, and it's great having him work in the SEC office. As a matter of fact, prior to him retiring, he and I always talked about getting together and collaborating a little bit, spending some time with each other, and just think the world of him. And so, I think that's part of the attraction for me with Kentucky when I took it, was I wanted to do something that maybe not everybody can do. And it wasn't exactly the easiest thing to do. And I like that kind of challenge. And then since then, I've, gotten it to a point where I just thoroughly enjoy it. I love the place and, want to continue to build it.
Was there a magic moment where maybe privately, without anybody around, you said, "You know what? We're going to pull this off"?
I felt good about the progress early, even if it wasn't showing up on the field. I felt like things were going into place. Now, there comes moments where I knew very clearly what kind of job I was getting into. I'd been through it before with my brother at Arizona.
Not your first rodeo.
No. I knew, I know it. And people say, "Hey, don't worry. We know it's a long build." Okay, well, everybody's definition of a long build is different. And I completely understand that. I'm not like fans and everybody, because the excitement is there and they're ready right now. And you don't realize how hard it is to turn it. You know what I mean? And it's like a great big old ship. You know what I mean? You better turn it slow, and so I think it's different now with the way you could turn rosters over now with the transfer portal. Obviously, you could get some quicker fixes, but back then it was a real challenge, and it took some perseverance. And so what happens is then there's maybe a game in there, it's year 2 or year 3, or you the margin for error is this. There's some games you're up against the wall. You're 3-point underdogs no matter what. You know what I mean? Or 3 touchdown underdogs no matter what. And then there's games where it's if you ever lose one you're supposed to win, that's when the walls crash it. You know what I mean? That's when it's gone. And and you just have to survive that. And you have to turn it around. You can't do that too often when you're in that critical moment, or you're not going to survive.
As a Nashville-based show, you know where I got to go with this. Mm-hmm. Tell me what we're getting in Will Levis.
You're getting a fantastic person, a great leader who's unbelievably talented, and he has the complete package to be a franchise quarterback. And and I know it takes more than just one guy. I believe he's in the right system. I believe he's with the right coach. I believe his toughness and the culture, you know what I mean? He'll fit in. And I think you're going to love him. When that happens, I don't know, but he'll work at it. It's extremely important to him to have success for his organization. And I mean, that's what you want in a leader. I mean, it's not about him. It's about the team being successful, and he wants to work at it.
What you just told me, did you tell the Titans?
Absolutely. Yep. Coach Vrabel was one of, he was right there. He was in our building and watching that, the complete workout.
So with him gone, what's your quarterback situation?
Yeah, we have a Devin Leary transferred from NC State. He's a heck of a player. We have some good young quarterbacks behind him that we're developing and bringing along. Devin will be, 1 year, and that's all he has left, and we're excited about that. He's a very talented player, and when he was healthy, he's done a remarkable job. And so we got to do a better job around him. Last year we didn't do a great job of protecting Will. We have to, do a better job individually and making sure we have the right offensive line around him and schematically protecting the quarterback and giving him a chance to compete and get the ball down the field.
When he said when the young guy from NC State came to you, do you have to coach him differently at all because it's 1 year as opposed to if it were 3 or 4?
No, I don't. I mean, I think when you're getting an older guy, the maturity level's there, and we vetted him before he came in and all those things. So very comfortable with him and his work ethic and the way he fit. I think that's the big thing with the transfer portals, making sure they fit your culture and your team. And I feel very good about that.
Last thing for you. What's the next step at Kentucky?
We just got to keep on growing, win ones we're supposed to and win some more. That's the big thing is
I think we might have lost the end of the Stoops interview.
Tell you what, Kelly, listen to this one because this is something Watson harps on a lot for Vandy and, in this case, Kentucky. Listen to their schedule early. First 3 games, home against Ball State, home against Eastern Kentucky, home against Akron. That sort of takes some of the pressure off of how many games you've got to win in the SEC to go bowling. Now, the last of the non-conference games is the traditional season ender against Louisville this year in Louisville. But early on, they're going to be 3-0.
And that's good for Devin Leary, too.
Sure is. Good
Well,
point.
absolutely. They should be 3-0, but don't mess up and lose one of those games. You know what I'm saying? That's always and you won't. They won't. I mean, we understand that. But like, if you ever messed up, and he talked about that earlier, where the game that you're supposed to win, you lose, and then the walls come crashing down. Those games are good, and you pick. That's a good way to start because it's like preseason in college now with D1 programs where you got an SEC school. They try to get in the swing of things, and they bring in some cupcakes to begin the season, and that's what they want because that's kind of their preseason schedule to get ready for the SEC schedule.
Kelly, it's interesting, and George, you can answer this too, I'm sure. The majority of Power 5 teams have a cupcake to start the season, right? It's rare. I mean, I think it's a little bit more common now to have a big-time matchup in non-conference.
Poor old UL Monroe.
But, does it make it? Would you rather, if you're a head coach, would you rather play a cupcake or would you rather play a better Power 5 non-conference team?
I think when you're in the SEC playing all these tough teams in October and November, screw it.
And bring on Monroe. I'd rather play a cupcake to begin with. If I've got a tough schedule like that and you got to go through the SEC meat grinder, I'd rather start out with some cupcakes that I know I'm going to win, maybe give some guys some confidence, maybe give some, some younger guys some experience that hadn't played in the SEC.
Well, Billy, that is the real Monroe doctrine. Thank you.
Well, North Carolina is playing South Carolina week 1. And that's for those two programs. Those two coaches probably aren't real happy about that. I mean,
well, the one that wins is in great shape.
Yeah.
And the one who loses is going, why the hell did we do this? But back on Leary for a minute. It's possible that he is the most important transfer portal signing by any SEC team this year. Because if he's good, they're going to be good.
Oh, absolutely. It's because, once again, he's a quarterback. And that's we got guys, free agents moving around all over the place now in college football. It's kind of crazy to keep up with those guys, but he was a good player. I think he had an injury last year, did he not, at the end of the season?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but watching him play, he's a good, you can tell he's kind of a gritty guy. He's kind of the guy that you want on your team. He seems like a Mark Stoops guy who, get in that huddle and command respect, and he's only got 1 year left. So they're hoping it works out. I know that.
Boy, they've got a low floor, but they've got a high ceiling too. Like you said, if Leary steps up and plays like the way they want him to, I think that Kentucky team could be 8-4, right? But if he doesn't, say he gets hurt, struggles a little bit in the SEC with the physicality, they could be a 5-7, 6-6 type team. There's a lot of teams like that, George, where low floor but a high ceiling too. So
when Oklahoma and Texas get here, there's going to be a lot more of it.
Exactly.
Okay, after the break, we'll go stat of the day, and then I'm going to solve the Saquon Barkley issue. Kelly, why do you look at me like?
Because you're going to solve it. What are you going to solve? You're not going to. They're not listening to you, George.
Well,
I mean, you might have your opinion.
This.
No, they won't. They don't care about George Plaster's opinion.
I will get word to Derrick Henry.
Okay.
I'll say to him, King, listen closely.
Good luck with that, George.
I'll work on it. Stay tuned. All of you need to listen, though. If you're an NFL fan, this conversation is one you're going to need to listen to because it's a big one in the National Football League.
Hey, thank you for meeting with me today. The insurance company has made an offer.
Already? How?
They've offered you the entire policy.
Thank you, Blair.
You're so welcome.
Forget the fact that Sir Speedy Music City is owned by my BGA classmate James Warren. Their work stands on its own merit. James and his staff do incredible work, as evidenced by the huge banners at the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. If you're looking for quality to help your marketing and business communications, and you want it at a reasonable price, these are your folks. Call them at 615-832-9511 or go to print at sirspeedymusiccity.com. And be sure to tell them Plaz sent you.
Hello, this is Celeste Middleton, a State Farm agent in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I want to help my neighbors and local businesses be proactive and assess their risk before something unexpected happens. We want you to have a thorough understanding of your coverages to have the best protection when you need it. We can create a personal price plan for you. Our team has over 70 years of experience helping people in Middle Tennessee. We have an awesome team with integrity and provide honest and prompt communication. And we love what we do and genuinely care about everyone we work with at our office. Give us a call at 615-895-2700. Send us a message at celestemiddleton.com or walk in at our office at 803 North Thompson Lane in Murfreesboro. We would love to earn your business.
Welcome to John English Antique Sports and Cards, located at 204 East Depot Street in beautiful downtown Shelbyville, Tennessee. Their phone number is area code 931-492-4304. John, obviously, I've been blown away by what I've seen at your place. I've now been there 3 times. But for the person who's never been, what should they expect?
Well, we have a 3,000 square foot store, George. Half of it is vintage cards in all sports, and then half of the store is, a lot of people call it the museum, where there's a lot of early equipment and just the history of sports in general: baseball, football, basketball, golf, tennis, and other items.
When somebody comes in there that you know is a big sports fan, what is their normal reaction?
Well, I think that they're pleasantly surprised, and of course, being in Shelbyville, Tennessee, which is a small town that you would never expect a shop like we have to be in. So they're kind of, I don't want to say blown away, but as I said, pleasantly surprised.
Welcome back in. Approaching the 3 o'clock hour. It's time for Stat of the Day, brought to you by John English Antique Sports and Cards. You can find them out in Shelbyville, 204 East Depot Street. They're open during the week, Tuesday through Friday from noon to 5, and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5. Give them a call at 931-492-4304. All right, we're keeping the theme of college football rolling. It's pretty crazy, 33 days away from week 0 of college football. All right, here, I thought this was a good one. Interesting question. Which TV network was the first to broadcast a college football game?
Oh, wow.
The good thing about this is you've got a pool of networks.
Three.
NBC, ABC, CBS.
I would say NBC, George.
That is what I think.
Why do y'all say that?
I don't know. I just think it was NBC.
Just a gut feeling?
Well, it was, I just remember like the Super Bowls being on NBC and Kurt Gowdy and all those guys. So I'm thinking NBC.
You're thinking NBC too, George?
Yep.
All right. You guys are correct. NBC.
Yeah, baby.
How far back are we going?
1951.
Really?
Duke at Pittsburgh.
So they didn't have the yellow line, did they? Unless a dog. Sort of.
That's a good question. I wonder what they did have in terms of, like, did they have graphics?
Nothing. Oh, I don't know.
Probably some sort of graphic, but nothing like it is today. I wonder if that's available.
It still looked like stars on the TV, Billy. And Billy never had to get up. I can remember back in the day, George, Billy never had to get up to change the TV dial. He never had to do that. He's always had a remote. You remember that, George, back in the day?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Did y'all have the TV that would just sit on the floor? Because we're getting a lot of those. Like, I mean, you could set them up on something, I guess, but most households had them on the floor. Because I remember my dad telling me that. And he'd sit real low. He'd just sit on the ground and sit right in front of the TV and watch the games.
Yeah, I don't ever think I had one on the ground. It was a tough life where you had to get up out of your chair and you had to go turn the channel to ABC, NBC, or CBS.
2, 4, or 5.
That was it, baby. 2, 4, or 5.
All right, George, you ready for these players to hear your message?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm ready for it too. I'm ready for it too. I can't wait.
So, the NFL running backs are pissed off. We know that. And by the way, rightfully so. If you've ever stood on an NFL sideline and watched the amount of pounding and the amount of stuff that a running back who carries it 20 to 25 times has to endure, it's a legalized train wreck. You can see why they don't last very long. And here's where I'm going with this. Over the weekend, and apparently this was put together by Austin Eckler, who has been yapping about this for a while. He got them all together. I don't know if it was by phone or Zoom. Derrick Henry was one of them. Saquon Barkley was one of them. Help me if y'all remember.
Josh Jacobs.
Jacobs.
Those were Jacobs. Those were the
Christian McCaffrey, I think, was in on it as well.
Yep. It was a lot. It was all the big time running backs in the NFL.
Was Tony Pollard part of it?
I think Pollard was too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're frustrated. They know that something has gone on that has suddenly made their earning ability shrink huge, while other positions like quarterback have gone insane. Now, here's what I know. You can talk all you want about the New York Giants and Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is a nice quarterback. He looks a hell of a lot better when Saquon Barkley is in his lineup because, to quote, let me see if I can find this because I took a picture of this earlier today. Okay. Here is the picture. Yeah, I've stolen it from somewhere. The Giants Saquon Barkley had 377 touches a year ago. The next closest had 143. Saquon had 1,841 yards from scrimmage. The next closest Giant, 819. Now, you can give me all this stuff about how important the quarterback is, but I got news for you. In New York, with the G-men, Saquon Barkley is the most important piece of that team. It is not Daniel Jones. Can we agree on that, Kelly?
We can agree on. I'll give you that. I'll definitely give you that one. Because if you look at the numbers of Saquon Barkley being in the game and when it being out of the game, Daniel Jones, his percentages of all his stuff go way down when Saquon Barkley's not playing. So he's definitely a security blanket for Daniel Jones. There's no question about that. But it's a quarterback-based league now, George. I can't. I know where your argument is coming, and I know you got some more points that you're going to bring up. But
yeah,
if you look at it, George, that's what drives the league now. It's not the Jim Browns of the world. It's not the Walter Paytons of the world, the Emmitt Smiths of the world anymore. It's just it's Peyton Manning, it's Tom Brady, it's Drew Brees, it's Aaron Rodgers, it's Patrick Mahomes, it's Joe Burrow, it's those guys. And I'm not saying that you don't have to have a running back, but I always bring this team up every time I'm on the air. But if you look at all the success that happened in New England, they constantly had different running backs every year, George. It was every year. I mean, he understands. Sure. Bill Belichick understands that if you have a really good offensive line, you have some matchup problems when you get a Rob Gronkowski or an Aaron Hernandez. I mean, you don't even have to have great wideouts. They didn't have some. I mean, they had Julian Edelman, obviously, and they had Randy Moss. But if you can keep the quarterback, and you've got the one of the greatest quarterbacks ever play the game, if you understand that, then the running back position is kind of a afterthought.
Sure, if you've got Tom Brady, the greatest of all time, you can have James White. You can have that whole list of Patriot quarterbacks. Daniel Jones is a middle-of-the-road quarterback. He's Ryan Tannehill with a few less years. Fair?
Man, maybe. We'll see. Time will tell.
I think this is a big year because he got paid. So
he did.
Right. There'll be a little more pressure on him.
Yeah.
He's nowhere near as good without Saquon Barkley.
I completely agree with that.
And
I agree with that.
The Giants couldn't care less. They decided to pay Daniel Jones and really not pay Saquon Barkley. So they have this weekend summit where they come away saying, we got no answers. Well, I think they do have an answer. The word is collusion, and it scares the hell out of leagues. Just ask Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball in the late 80s got caught red-handed in collusion. What happened? They got nailed, what was it, like $280 million? In the mid-80s, Peter Ueberroth was the commissioner of Major League Baseball. Didn't know the first damn thing about baseball, but he had been a very successful Olympic chairman for the 84 games in L.A. He got the owners to go along with this collusion thing, and before it was over, they got their butt handed to them. Each team owing millions after a court ruled collusion. That word scares the crap out of leagues. And you know what, Kelly? That's what's going on right now. There is collusion. The NFL has colluded. You can't tell me that 31, 32 GMs and owners all woke up on the same day and said, you know what? I've just had an epiphany. Running backs are worthless. That is not the way this happened.
I don't know if it's well, I mean, that's a big word, George, from somebody from Fayetteville, collusion, but
Collusion.
I don't know if it's necessarily that. It may be. I don't know. I know that people talk. I know that everybody in the league talks to each other. I do understand that, but it's just, George, I think it's just the way that the game is going now. It's just.
Kelly, they didn't all wake up the same day having the same dream.
I'm just telling you though. We've had a couple of forensics about this, where the fullback's gone. The fullback used to be a prevalent part of the National Football League. The fullback's gone, so now they're using 2 tight end sets, and they're using one of the tight ends is kind of morphed him into a fullback. So the fullback got pushed out of the league as well. There's no more Moose Johnson of the world. There's no more, thick guys that ISO the backer. There's no more of that going on. So I can just think back to the Le'Veon Bell deal. I think Le'Veon Bell set out a year. He was with Pittsburgh, and he was with the ultimate running team. That's what Pittsburgh made their living on. He was never the same afterwards. After he set out that year, he got his money, went to the New York Jets, never came back the same guy. Emmitt Smith tried the same thing with the Dallas Cowboys. Now, that was in a different era, and he was part of the Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, Emmitt Smith time, which it was a little different than today. I think you can put Saquon in that discussion. I really do. Even the Titans had Chris Johnson when he amassed 2,000 yards, and then he got paid, and then he never was the same. That's why. And George, I think you brought up a great point earlier. You see all those guys get pounded for 25, 30 times a game. And I think that falls into the category of why some of these general managers and owners don't want to pay these guys that type of money, because they're getting pounded so much that are they going to be a long-term deal? I don't know. I don't
Kelly,
know, George.
let me ask you this. Do you honestly believe that they all woke up basically about the same time, having had the same dream, where John Riggins came into their head and said, don't pay him anymore? I mean, come on. They didn't all have, by the way, collusion. This is a dictionary definition. Secret or illegal cooperation or conspiracy, especially in order to cheat or deceive others. Now, look, all I'm asking you is this. Do you really believe that they all woke up within about a week of each other and said, damn, I had a dream about running backs. So did I.
I don't know if it's collusion, George. I think it's just the trends of the league.
Oh, I think there's more to it than that.
I mean, you look at this. You look at this, George. Okay, so you're going to pay the quarterback. You're going to pay a left tackle. You're going to pay receivers. You may pay a tight end if he's good enough. You're going to pay an edge rusher. You're going to pay cornerbacks. Now, the guys that aren't getting paid like they want to get paid are the safeties, the middle linebackers, and the running backs. I mean, that's just the way that the game is played now, the way that the financial part, and I'm not saying it's right, George. I'm definitely not saying it's right, but that's just the way the financial game has come. Like, I think Saquon Barkley's different. I think Josh Jacobs is different too, because I think Josh Jacobs can catch out of the backfield. Tony Pollard can as well. So you got 3 guys that are huge parts of their team of catching the ball out of the backfield, but it's become such a passing league, George. And I think people have found out about the Tennessee Titans. You've got to be able to back people off. Like, Derrick Henry's been the guy that people have focused on for years now. And if you can't back those guys off, if you can't start completing some passes, then they're going to creep 9 guys, or they're going to creep 7 guys, 8 guys up to the line of scrimmage, and they're going to overload the box. And then Derrick Henry is kind of nullified if you can't complete the ball down the field. So I don't know. It's just become such a passing league. And I just think that it's kind of like the fullback. I'm not saying that the running back's ever going to go away, because that's not going to happen. But those days of getting paid like that, I just don't see that happening much anymore. Now, I may be wrong, and the trends may pick back up, because I know that Adrian Peterson, when he came to the Minnesota Vikings and I was his teammate, that guy's different. There's something about him. And he got paid a little bit different because he was different. But, that was almost, I mean, I've been retired for 15 years now, and the game has taken such a different turn. It's such a passing league, and that's why you're seeing what's happening. Now, do I think Daniel Jones deserves that? I don't know. He hasn't done enough for me, but I will say this. Listen to our buddy David Cutcliffe talk about, I asked him that day when he finished his talking that day, and I asked him about Daniel Jones, and he's like, that kid right there is tougher than nails, man, and he's a really good football player. So he's got to continue to do it. He's got to do it for more than 1 year, but I don't know, George. You create a good point, but I don't think that's coming back. I think it's a trend. Maybe if you want to call it collusion, because all of them all the owners talk with each other, and they're all saying, hey, we're not going to pay running backs. And Bill Belichick never paid a running back. People can't even name the guys that were on their Super Bowl teams, I bet.
We got a comment on YouTube.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to get to it.
Yeah, I will in a minute. Here's where I'm going with this, Kelly. Major League Baseball, NFL, the difference has been that when Major League Baseball players go on strike, they'll stick to it. The owners are not afraid of the NFL Players Association because they know they will cave like a cheap suit. They always have, and that ownership group believes they always will. Now, one of the things you've had in baseball was you had a Marvin Miller. You had a Donald Fear. Y'all got saddled with DeMaurice Smith, who was useless. And now you've got a guy as of a month ago named Lloyd Howell. Lloyd Howell was, before he took this job, the CFO and treasurer of something called Booz, B-O-O-Z, Allen Hamilton. Now, I don't know what that is, and I'm just saying he was the CFO and treasurer of Booz Allen Hamilton. So these players who had this call, Kelly, are sitting there going, we haven't got squat to help us. We are on our own. We've got a union that has no backbone. We have a leader who hasn't even taken over yet. And the one who was there was completely useless. So why not toss out the word collusion, even if it isn't? Number one, threaten it. It scares the hell out of these leagues when you use the word. Baseball players have used it constantly. You never hear it in football. Then what you do, Kelly, is you get some disgruntled NFL types to testify in deposition form. A1 on my list, John Gruden, Josh Jacobs' coach. Why is he not being paid? John Gruden might just say, you know what? Because they all got in a room and said, this is the way to devalue one of the higher price positions in the league. Kelly, all I'm saying is this. I don't know whether it's collusion, but these players have nothing else. They have no union with any backbone. They don't even know who the hell Lloyd Howell is.
No.
They've never heard of him. I'd never heard of him. So they got nothing on their own. Why not toss out the C word and start making some threats and saying, you know what? If you don't start playing ball with us fairly, we're going to start deposing in a lawsuit the John Grudens of the world, people who've got an axe to grind, who have no reason to protect the NFL, and one of them will pop off and say, you're right. That's what's going on.
You could be right, George. I mean, we've talked about it before, though, and I agree with all that stuff you're saying. But when it boils down to it, the NFLPA and all that know that right now the game in the United States is in the National Football League and college football. They know it's all about that. We know that it's all about money, and I have a hard time. And now here's the deal. I understand that you should be able to make what you want. And right now, Saquon Barkley is at the highlight of his career. Josh Jacobs, Tony Pollard, they're young guys. They may have many years left, but they've got one time to get this done and get it done right. But if they sign this franchise tag, they're making $10.1 million a year.
Yeah, I'm not
I mean, I get that. I mean,
them.
and that's what I'm saying. I mean, I understand where you're coming from, but like, I get that, George. I don't know how hard is that. How hard was that for the Major League Baseball players to prove collusion?
Well, they were able to catch him red-handed. First of all, in one of the worst moments of that whole fiasco, the agent for Andre Dawson basically said, let's have a little fun here.
Okay.
None of the clubs are signing any of the free agents. So, Andre, you go to the Cubs where you want to play because you need to be on grass because of your bad knees. Basically allow the Cubs to fill in the blank. I'll get it out there media-wise that what we're doing and force the Cubs to sign you. They can fill in the blank, and that's what you're going to play for. So Andre Dawson did that. The Cubs signed him to a $500,000 deal for that year. He hit 49 homers and was the league's most valuable player. And in that particular year, the league's most underpaid. Now, baseball got caught in a meeting where Ubroth wasn't as smart as he thought he was. And he had a meeting telling them, if you want to curb free agency, this is how you do it. Well, the owners were dying to stop it, and so they did. The problem is it's collusion. Now, let me read you what a listener is saying. George, it's not collusion. MLB has no salary cap. The NFL has just adjusted to a changing way of playing ball. I can get a back in the third round that can get me X yards. Why pay big bucks? Well, let me ask this question. Hell, if they're all equal, then why are we fawning all over Derrick Henry? Because Derrick Henry is a cut above most of the running backs in the NFL. So while I hear what he's saying, Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry are up here. Okay, they're up here because they're better than the rest of them.
And the Titans run an offense that really nobody else runs because of Derrick Henry.
And the Giants come closer to it because they use Barkley out of the backfield a lot. So, Kelly, the baseball thing got really stupid, and the agent for Andre Dawson basically put him out of commission, where he forced the Cubs' hand to fill in a blank contract with a number. And so that's what happened in the mid-'80s. And then the Players Association, which had real backbone, said, by God, let's sue them. And that's one of the problems right now in the NFL. I'm going to go back to it. Their union has no teeth. The owners are not the least bit afraid of that union because they know they will cave the minute things get tough. And the other thing is, who's running the NFL Players Association? Some guy named Lloyd Howell. Wow. Great.
George, they cave because they know they got a cash cow right now, and they don't want anything to screw that up. I mean, I get that,
Kelly, because they have a much shorter window to make it work. Why did all those guys in the 87 strike cave 3 weeks into it?
I understand that. I mean, I get that. But here, let me just put my Danny Evans GM cap on. I'm going to be honest with you, just for so me and you we can battle back and forth because I like this. But if I'm a GM, I'm not paying a running back like that either. Not going to do it.
What if he's Derrick Henry?
I'm not going to do it. I go out and get somebody. I go out and get somebody else. I mean, I'm just not going to do it.
Titans do that.
I don't know. I mean, they did that to Chris Johnson, and then Chris Johnson never showed up again. I think the game has changed, George. I really do. And I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm definitely not saying you're wrong because there's not many Saquon Barkleys out there. I get that, and I'm kind of on his side. But if I'm a GM and I'm looking at my team, I'm going to get, and I'll tell you what, the guy that they signed off the street, that Robinson kid from the New York Giants, I mean, he's lucky to have a job. So you don't think he's going to go in there and bust his butt this week and this year to try to get himself on the field. But what are your thoughts on if these guys sit out the year? Because that sounds like what he and Josh Jacobs are thinking about.
This is where you really have a problem in the NFL, because if any of these guys sit out, first of all, they're losing a year's paycheck. But unlike Major League Baseball, where the clock ticking is not nearly as severe, in the NFL, that 31-year-old running back is about done.
Right.
And so it's a lot harder on them. But what makes it really hard, Kelly, is they have no leadership. They've got a guy who hadn't even taken over yet, Lloyd Howe. Nothing against Lloyd Howe. I don't know. He may be related to Thurston B. Howe, for all I know. But my point is, these poor guys, not that they're poor,
no,
they have no leadership. They're having to get on a phone Saturday amongst themselves because their own union really provides them nothing. And so, in lieu of real leadership, toss out the C word. If you're Nick Chubb, don't come out on Monday and say, we got nothing. Come out and say, you know what? We're looking into collusion. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, if you want to go that route, go that route. I just think that the trends in the NFL are heading away from the running back. I'm for those guys because I think everybody's entitled, but safeties, inside linebackers, running backs, you're just not going to get the money that maybe they used to get. It's not going to happen anymore.
Kelly, you're now under oath. Do you believe that all these GMs and owners within a month of each other woke up and said, I had a dream? Do you believe that's what happened?
I don't know. I don't think they dreamed that, but I think that the trends, and they're listening to the GMs. The GMs are telling them what to do. And I understand that the owners hold the red pens, but like they're writing the checks, but like the owners hired the GM to do a job, and that's just the trend in the NFL now. The running back now, Saquon Barkley might come out this next week, and he might break the bank with what he's getting. But to me, I'm just not doing it. That's just me.
Do you believe the Giants can make the playoffs without Barkley?
I do not.
I do not. Billy, you've been listening to this harangue of mine. What do you think?
I mean, I agree. I think the Giants without Barkley, they're not the same team. But flip it around, is Barkley the same player without Daniel Jones?
Oh, please.
Yes.
Without Daniel Jones?
Yes.
Let's not make him out to be Peyton Manning.
But he's also not dirt. I mean, Daniel Jones is a good quarterback.
He's a middle-of-the-road NFL quarterback. He's Kirk Cousins. He's Ryan Tannehill. He's in the middle. Do you honestly look me in the eye and tell me he's in the upper third of the NFL?
I never said that.
Okay, what are you saying?
I'm saying you're devaluing Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones. He's what if their starter was a Malik Willis? Does that make a difference for Saquon Barkley?
He just might not catch many passes, but he's going to get touches. He's going to get his running touches.
So without Daniel Jones, Barkley's still the same guy.
Yeah.
Well,
absolutely.
Okay. Could you say if Ryan Tannehill was the Giants quarterback, would he be able to do the same things he's doing now? Absolutely. Yeah, look, he just needed, in this case, a middle-of-the-road Daniel Jones. And a year ago, Jones was considerably better. He stopped turning the ball over as much. He was pretty good a year ago. But he's pretty good because Saquon Barkley provides him protection. Play fake to Saquon Barkley, people got to worry. Play fake to me, nothing.
But no,
So, nothing.
I
do you
agree.
see any merit to my argument, which is, what the hell? Throw out the C word and see if it scares somebody.
No, George, no merit. It's trends.
Billy?
I see Kelly's side. I also see yours. I don't think they would do that. Just because it's the NFL. I mean,
They
the
got
NFL
nothing
owners,
to lose.
The NFL
Toss
owners,
it out there. Don't sit there and say, we got no answers. Toss out the C word and see if it scares anybody. And if it doesn't, then maybe you file a little lawsuit and start deposing some people.
Then you gotta prove collusion.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got to prove it. I mean, you said it was a slam dunk in the major leagues,
It
but
was a
nowadays
slam dunk.
I just don't see that. I just don't see that happening, George.
These things make it easier. Text them. Anyway, I've said my piece. Collusion. We'll go to the break.
Trends.
Collusion.
Trends.
Let's do plaster bet of the day when we come back. Stay tuned.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
Hey, thank you for meeting with me today. The insurance company has made an offer.
Already? Wow.
They've offered you the entire policy.
Thank you, Blair.
You're so welcome.
Year number 2 of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night was awesome. And the reason is really simple. I chose Strike and Spare, and they were amazing. They have great food, great bowling, and a staff that is truly ready to go the extra mile to help you. They have 5 family fun centers in the area to choose from, and for more info, go to strikeandspare.com or call them at 615-824-5685.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Single game tickets are on sale now.
Hello, this is Celeste Middleton, a State Farm agent in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I want to help my neighbors and local businesses be proactive and assess their risk before something unexpected happens. We want you to have a thorough understanding of your coverages to have the best protection when you need it. We can create a personal price plan for you. Our team has over 70 years of experience helping people in Middle Tennessee. We have an awesome team with integrity and provide honest and prompt communication, and we love what we do and genuinely care about everyone we work with at our office. Give us a call at 615-895-2700, send us a message at celestemiddleton.com, or walk in at our office at 803 North Thompson Lane in Murfreesboro. We would love to earn your business.
Welcome back. It's now time for Plaster's Bet of the Day, brought to you by Bart Durham Injury Law. Give them a call at 615-242-9000 or log on to bartdurham.com. Let's check out what happened last week. 3-3.
Yeah.
Giants lost on Friday night
to the Nats. They got swept. What was the stat I saw? It was the first series that the Washington Nationals have swept in like the last 96 series.
That's how bad they've been.
Ugh.
That's bad.
So tonight we're getting as rivalry.
No graphic, George.
Okay.
You'll have to.
We're getting
audibly.
as rivalry based as we can get on this one. Milwaukee and Cincinnati are battling in the National League Central, and Milwaukee had the upper hand a week ago when they went to Cincinnati and shut out the Reds in 2 of the 3 victories that they got. They play again tonight in Milwaukee. I think there's a little mental baggage that the Reds are having to deal with going into this series. I'm taking Milwaukee tonight at home against the old Redlegs. Kelly, I want to ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
If you filed a lawsuit and in the lawsuit you asked to see the text messages over the last 2 years of all 32 NFL general managers, do you not think you could find a text message that would have a reasonable person say, whoa, that looks more like the C word?
You're just not going to give us up, are you, George?
No, I'm not.
I'm sure. That's what I'm saying. Like the NFL, like coaches, general managers, personnel people, they talk all the time.
Sure, they do.
They talk to each other, but it's just like I don't think it's I just think it's the way that the game is going. I mean, yeah, you might be able to put some collusion in there. They probably all talked about it. It's like, I'm not going to pay this guy. Are you going to pay yours? Something like that. I don't know, but it's just the way that the NFL is trending right now that I just don't think the running backs are, I hate to say this, as important as maybe 10 years ago.
Okay. Let me also say, Kelly, that it's very seldom that I get caught like this. I don't totally believe the argument that I'm making. I'm playing attorney in this.
Yeah.
Okay. These guys got together on the phone this weekend because they feel like they have no other options. They have a union that has the backbone of a chocolate eclair. They have a leader. They don't even know the guy's name. He hadn't even stepped on campus yet. They're sitting there going, we got nothing. We're the NFL. We're supposed to be glamour, and we haven't got squat. And so lawyer George says, well, throw out the old C word and see what happens. Throw enough C on the wall and see if anything sticks. Because I believe if you did that, something would stick. I do believe that.
You may have, I mean, you could have a point. I just don't, I don't see it. I think that would be hard to prove. That's just me. I think that would be hard to prove. But my whole thing is, why is this not part of Kelly's World of Football? I mean, have we forgotten about that?
Well,
I mean, we didn't get the introduction or anything. I'm not on the beginning of the broadcast, and we didn't get to Kelly's World of Football. So where are we going? I mean, is that over now?
There is collusion against you.
Collusion. There is collusion.
Yes, I'm the colluder.
George has colluded against you, Kelly.
Basically,
I'm sure you and Billy talked about it. Says we're not doing that anymore. We're not putting him up. So this is not Kelly's World of Football.
I said, "Is this Kelly's World of Football?" And George goes, "Oh no,
no, it isn't. It isn't." And later on in the show, I'll tell Kelly why. He'll understand. Right now, he's trying to back me into a corner that I'm not willing to go with him.
I know you're not, but you're not going to win this argument. I mean, it's not going to.
I don't know if I'm going to win it or not, but I'll tell you what. It's better than Chubb coming out saying we got nothing.
And you're not going to get any one of them running backs going to a lawyer saying they're colluding against us. That's not going to happen, George.
You don't think
No.
You don't think one of these guys, if they heard the last 30 minutes, wouldn't say, I don't like his shirt, but he may be on to something.
No, I really don't.
We'll go to the break on that, Kelly, and then we'll tell you what's coming the rest of the week. So stay tuned.
Starting to save for your future doesn't have to be difficult. Let Wilson Bank and Trust help tone up your financial goals this year. Our certificates of deposits or CDs can help your money work harder with our competitive rates, earning you more than ever before. WBT checking options allow you to earn rewards you can really use, like a high interest rate or cash back on check card purchases when you meet some e-banking qualifications. Visit your closest Wilson Bank and Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC.
Family owned and operated for more than 2 decades, Alaco Fine Wood Floors is Nashville and Middle Tennessee's choice for premium quality hardwood floors. Since 1995, Jimmy Alaco and his army of employees have embodied the approach of taking pride in one's craft and providing superior customer service, growing from a one-man shop to a team of 23 professionals who share the founder's passion for quality craftsmanship and customer satisfaction. If you are interested in contacting them, you can find their headquarters at 2505 Winford Avenue in Berry Hill, or give them a call at 615-356-0303. Again, that's 615-356-0303, or log on to alacofinewoodfloors.com. Alaco Fine Wood Floors, serving Middle Tennessee's hardwood flooring needs since 1995.
At Baird, we have a different slant on global financial advice. That global capabilities mean nothing without personal attention. We have investor relationships in 35 countries and market expertise in over 40 industry verticals, all to help make the most important investment connections of all, yours. Global financial advice with a client-first approach. It's the shape of things to come. Discover the Baird difference at BairdDifference.com.
Okay, tomorrow on the show, great lineup. Tony Basilio during the 2 o'clock hour. I may toss the C word at him.
Tony would agree with you.
You think so?
Yes.
Why is that?
I just got a feeling. I know.
Mm-hmm.
I know Tony.
Yeah. Well, that's right. He wants to hire you, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Okay. And then at 3 o'clock, Sports Illustrated's incredibly talented writer, Pat Forty, in an interview that we taped last week that will absolutely...
What a day to have Pat Forty on, because, and Tony Basilio knows this well, Tennessee fans are not big fans of Pat Forty. I mean, he is the...
He's the anti-Vol, anti-VFL.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's the scum of the earth to Tennessee fans.
He's not a Vol for life.
No.
Okay.
No.
I got it. And then later in the week, Kelly, we're going to release our next sports speaker series.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
It was a rousing success last week.
I think this one will be too.
Speaking of last week's, we're going to be showing some of that this week.
Yes, we are. At the end of the week, we're going to kind of divide it in two. On Thursday, it'll be my interview with the guys. On Friday, we're going to show you the Q&A out of the audience. And I got to tell you, some of the questions out of the audience were tremendous.
It covered all the bases.
Man.
Your buddy Mark Barrett had a Vandy question about the Alabama game, and then I mean it was questions for all four of them. So I thought the questions from the audience was just as good as
Yes.
as your questions. I mean,
They were.
Yeah.
You're right. Kelly, they got nothing to lose. Toss out the C word and scare the crap out of them.
Sure they do. They can get blackballed.
Some of them are old enough now. They're near the end anyway.
Come on, George.
Yeah.
Lighten up, Francis. Quit trying to sue everybody, Hoss.
Listen, you would wish to wear this shirt.
No, I would not. Give me 2 of those, as Tom Moore says. You know what the 2 mean. I better not say it on air.
Good. See you tomorrow, Kelly.
See y'all.
Billy.
Yeah.
Behave until tomorrow.
I'll try.
We'll see all of you then. Don't forget the C word. Collusion.